I
Alrighty, welcome into the Sports Ramble podcast, everybody. I don't even know what episode we're even on at this point. I've lost track of time
38.
while being up. 38. I've lost track of time since being up here
Yep.
um,
We,
in Wisconsin. So I just finished building parts. We just set a post for the new stairs we're putting in. So as you can tell, I'm pretty tired. But that doesn't matter because we're giving you your sports. You're gonna like the sports. You're gonna eat the sports and then be fulfilled by the sports. So big things happen. More people, I will say first. This is so the Thunder. Congrats to the Oklahoma City Thunder for winning their first championship, doing what Katie, Russ, Serge Ibaka, James Harden at one point couldn't even do themselves. So congrats to you guys. Um, Obviously, people feel it was cheapened by Halliburton going down, and they're saying that the refs gave them the game. I, it kind of goes back to our discussion with Garrett, where we're like, dude, should the refs be held accountable? I mean, they should, but we all knew with Halliburton going down, they were gonna lose that. The Pacers were gonna lose that game regardless. So it just felt like the culmination of like, okay, like listen, congrats to the Pacers though. They tried their hardest. I'll give them condemnation for that. They really tried. They deserve their flowers and everything. And it goes with that. They tried, but the Thunder are a machine, man. I think they could have closed the series out earlier.
yeah, because, yeah, plus, like, think about it. Everyone's still under contract going into next year. So, and they're still young,
Yeah,
very young team. So,
yeah.
the future's really bright for them. And guess what? Guess how many draft picks they have in this year's draft? Four. They got four.
Three or
They got
four.
four first-round picks.
Yeah.
So, it's nothing but up from here for OKC. And Sam Presti
Well, I don't
did
know.
a phenomenal
I don't know how
job.
I feel about having a first round pick. He did,
They might
but I
trade
don't
it.
know how I feel about if I'm a
Look.
first round pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
They should. Well, they should. Here's why. If I'm a rookie and I'm like, oh, I'm going to the OKC Thunder, great. My thought process. And I might have a different thought process than most people, but my thought process is, well, I'm not really going to get to play because look at the starting five. They're not going anywhere. I'm going to be either a role player or a bench player. And if you're a player that's like, I don't want to come off the bench, again, that's unfortunately that's how most draft picks are. You know, they're like, oh, I want to start right away. Well, you kind of want to go to that team. So personally, if I was an OKC draft pick, at least trade. I mean, you can get probably some depth, roster depth if you wanted to, but I mean, those players are just going to develop in your system, and maybe if they're better to take over a starting spot, yeah. But as of what the core that I see for OKC, none of them are going anywhere.
Oh yeah, because like the main whenever Jalen Williams starts going off and Shea gets his points, it's kind of like they're unstoppable. So, but
Yeah.
OKC is the team to beat, and
Yep.
the East is wide open
It
because
is.
Milwaukee. I mean, they might have a chance next year. Because I know Dame got hurt, but don't count them out. Cleveland might make some noise.
Never
Then
know.
like 'cause Boston's a question mark right now. Indiana's a definite question mark because I know they were a 51 team, but it's like same thing as like well, what they're gonna do. And the team in the
Yeah.
East that's gonna like surprise a bunch of folks is Orlando. Because that's pretty much like the most like well-rounded team in the East that's like when healthy, like they can like surprise some folks and then go to the NBA finals. Because they got better.
Do you think? Well, Trey, do you think then for the East? Do you think that Milwaukee Bucks, being where they are, right? Do you think they
Hmm.
should either retool or rebuild?
Retool because Giannis is not getting any younger. He's about to be he's like 30, 31, I believe. And he
Mhm.
said himself that like he wants to stay here as much like he want like as long as his career goes and pretty much like if they get the right pieces together, they can like go like far in the playoffs, especially like go to NBA Finals. Because just imagine
Yeah.
if like and Giannis was like not hurt last year in the playoffs. Cause and guess who they play? Indiana, because they held calf strain. And because okay, think
Yeah.
about this. I'm gonna be talking about calf strains because calf strains can be really scary. Like now, now it's like you don't want to mess with it now because Giannis had a calf
Yeah.
strain. People thought I was like, oh, play through it, play through it. Look what Tyrese did. Look what KD did. And like for an example, I heard that Jason Tatum and Dame Lillard came out and said like they had some pressure in their calf. So, and I'm going back all the way to Christmas. Luca took longer than expected
Hmm.
to recover. So make sure like he's all good because they didn't want him rushing back because the team that we
Yeah,
had for what the Mavericks had like they had a good deep enough team to like make some noise like for like time being when Luca was out. So it's just one of those things that
yeah,
like calf strains can be like the new like concussion protocol for like what the NFL does. Like they don't want like
mm,
it's pretty much like taking away like someone's like career, pretty much. It's like ending someone's career most likely because they're not gonna be the same player whenever they return.
yeah, exactly. And at this point, a calf strain could also be a career ender because if you get too build up too many of those, then you have an Achilles or you have a calf tear. I've seen those a couple times. Those are nothing to deal with, nothing to sneeze at. Um, it's just a terrible thing. But as you said before, SGA. Now people are like, "Oh my God, he's a Hall of Famer." Okay, calm down. Let's calm down.
Oh no.
It's one
He's a
championship.
good player.
He's a good player. Just calm down. And I just saw something today where because I'm in Wisconsin, but we're close enough to Minnesota, so we get the news there and all that stuff. So, I saw something today that said that Anthony Edwards said he was going to dedicate himself to beating OKC next year, and I was like, okay, you can dedicate yourself all you want. You need help. You need a second player. And sorry, but the guys around you right now, DiVincenzo, no, you know, he's not a second superstar. Neither is Rudy Gobert. You need at least one other guy, and I think they have some of that with their younger talent. I just don't think it's right now. Now, if you want to win right now, go trade. Go make a trade for somebody. I'm happy they didn't trade for KD. Thank God I didn't trade for KD. Speaking of which, he got traded to the Rockets, and not only did he get traded to the Rockets, but the way he found out to me was hilarious.
Oh, he was at
He's in mid
Fanatics
interview and
Fest.
he's just
Yeah, it was like what? Everyone was like,
all right.
"Oh, because here's the thing. I bet KD knew about the trade, but he kept it low key about it. But the fact that someone
Mhm.
knew about it and kind of had a shock value to him, but
Yeah,
that made Houston more dangerous because think about it. They got Fred VanVleet, Aman Thompson, KD at the three, his natural position,
yep.
and Jabari Smith, not Jabari Park, good lord, Jabari Smith at power forward, and Sagoon at the five.
That's not bad. That's not a bad roster.
I mean, that's a good team right there. Like the only thing is like I don't know about the depth because that's the only thing that's like they still got good depth and they got a
They
good
do
coach too. So
they do have some cap space to work with. They could be flexible on some of the cap space that they have. Obviously not enough for like three or two or three good role players, but you can at least fill out the bench a little bit better. Um, just with what you can get in the free agency, which is from based on what I'm seeing in the free agent market, there are some players that are bound to get paid. So either the teams, it reminds me a lot of the 2016 free agency where when KD signed with the Warriors, this free agency sounds it feels like it's gonna be like kind of like that where you're gonna have got teams that are like either you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Either you have to sign them to a huge contract, or you have to let them go and let them sign somewhere else. That's the unfortunate part. I
mhm.
think we'll see Houston compete. I don't know how much I trust them because again, Katie's old. He's got some injury problems. Everything that they see. I feel like the trade for the Rockets. I think the trade is good for both teams. I don't think. I think what the Suns got in return could have was a little weak, in my opinion. I think you could have gotten a little bit more, but I don't think they had a lot of leverage. Um,
Yeah,
but
the Phoenix Suns are not done trade in the trade
oh
world right
no,
now because
no,
they're gonna get rid of Bradley Beal and then Devin Booker. I feel bad
I
for him. I
I
really
see him
do.
going. I see him being traded to either. I had him going to the Spurs
Bradley Beal?
or no, no, no. Book.
I mean, I don't think they're gonna trade Booker. He's a franchise player. I don't think so. I don't
I
know.
think if you want, I think if you want to get a top pick, you obviously the Mavs aren't trading the first overall pick, but
Oh heck no.
the second overall pick is could possibly be wide open there. If you make an option for them, you could give Book for the second overall pick, and that could be a bad trade. Again, if this is if the Suns want to rebuild and kind of revamp everything, because obviously you're not getting a first round pick for Bradley Beal. Let's be honest.
Oh
You're
no.
probably gonna get a second. You're gonna get a second round pick for him.
Mm-hmm. He ain't the same player anymore.
No, he's a role player now. He's a bench player.
6 men at most. Probably like maybe a starter on a bad team. Maybe.
I mean, they could. The Magic could go get him. Magic could bolster their depth with him. I don't know if they'll be willing to pay him what he thinks he deserves.
Because that's the thing. Because what the whole like thing that went wrong for Phoenix, they played everyone out of position, and Bradley Beal's ego got in the way of that.
Yep.
Because Mike Budenholzer wanted Bradley Beal to be that Drew Holiday kind of player, where it's like, okay, you might be running point or coming off the bench sometimes, and being that like the point of attack defender on defense, and then like just POA on offense, where it's like, oh, you're gonna be either shooting or driving, just creating.
Mm,
And then Bradley Beal was like, I am still
no,
that guy getting
no,
paid that buttload of money, but at the same time, it's like, look, you're in your 30s, and
just
you're
quit.
talking like you're still all that, but like he's still good. He can still drop 30 a night, but
Yeah,
at the same time, it's like you gotta check your ego at the door before like it'll come behind your tail.
yeah.
So,
Did you see the tweet Alex Caruso posted?
oh, how like this one's a real ring, and then
Yeah.
how
I mean,
uh
he's. I mean, the history. All I'm saying is people can say, "Oh, it's a Mickey Mouse ring for both of them," or it was a Mickey Mouse ring
that was probably
for
like
Lake.
it's real basketball. There was no fans, no nothing. That was
Yeah.
straight up hoops.
as 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 the history books will always look back when you say, "Hey, man, let's go back to the history books. Who won? Who won the finals twice?" His name's gonna go in there as an NBA Finals winner twice. Won the NBA championship twice. So anyone can say anything they want. It's not a Mickey Mouse ring. It's a legit ring. It was played under legit rules, and people are saying, "Oh, the OKC had an easy run to the final." Well, maybe they did. They still got there. Who cares? Now, am I salty that they beat the Timberwolves? Yeah, but the thing is, I'm not going to make excuses. The only excuse I could make was Anthony Edwards was hurt the whole freaking series. He had to leave almost every game, and without
Hmm.
him, the Timberwolves are nothing. See, that's the difference between OKC and Minnesota. Is OKC is a well-rounded team. Minnesota's one guy.
Yep.
It just that's how it is.
I mean, y'all were about to be a monster in the West for a long time, and then y'all did that trade.
Yep, it is
Then
what it
y'all
is.
did
Well, I'm sure I'll find a way to get out of it.
because look, here's my thing. Y'all are about to run. If anything, y'all should have traded Gobert
Mhm.
and put because Carl Anthony Towns
My
at the
guess is he
center,
gets traded this.
and pretty much just revamp and get a new forward. And that's like smart because like Cat's like 7 foot already, and like play him at his natural center position. He can play power forward, but at the same time, it's like, look, just make it like easier and like you know. But who knows?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Who knows? But speaking of who is knowing what's going on, WWE's Night of Champions pay-per-view is coming up. However, they are monitoring the situation due to the unfortunate attacks um, that have been going on in Iran and Israel and all that with the U.S. We're not going to get political here, but we're just telling you the facts. We attacked Iran, and now we're don't know not sure what's going to happen going forward. So, in honor of that, I was wearing my LA Knight shirt here that I
Oh,
got
oh,
for like
yeah,
$40 at it.
yeah.
Yeah.
um,
But they're monitoring the situation. They said they're monitoring the situation. I understand you don't want to lose money in Saudi Arabia. I truly get that. But you have to think of the wrestler's health. Because some if I'm a wrestler and I'm like like I'm not like a guarantee to be on the card, right? Like, oh, we might put you, you know, second match, maybe a dark match. I'm like, dude, no, I'm not going. I just can't risk my health, especially if you have a family, because a lot of those wrestlers have wives and kids. They,
Mm-hmm.
if they're smart, they shouldn't go, or they should move it to a different country. I know that's not easy to do, easier said than done, but it's just for the safety of your wrestlers. You can't be like what Vince used to do. TKO cannot do that and just be like, forget the wrestlers' safety. Let's just go because any one of them can be held hostage or killed or whatever, and you don't want that. We'll see what happens. That's just my take on it.
Here's my thing. I as big of a like a pay per view like Night Champion is gonna be. I wasn't really a big fan of the whole Saudi Arabia like pay per views for WWE. I mean, I know like all due respect to them, but at the same time, it's like, look, we all know what goes down in the Middle East. It's not pretty. So I don't want like WWE superstars getting like, especially like the big names, especially like going down there, like getting like in harm's way just like for something that like they have no control over. And like there was like a story like some of them got stuck like a couple years ago.
Hmm.
So it's like one of those things where it's like just be precaution, like just have like a backup plan because some people are saying like, oh, have it at Chicago, have it in Chicago, but or in like have options, you know.
Yeah,
But
exactly. You gotta have some sort of backup plan. If you're gonna have security with them, I mean that's probably okay, but I don't know if that's enough. Like you just it's a sketchy situation anywhere you put it. Um, but if they do go, I will pray for some of them because again, if they get stuck there, you never know what could happen. Um, it's just an unfortunate situation because they have to monitor it. The fact that they're even monitoring it at this point, the fact they even obviously not
yeah, that's the thing.
cancel it,
That's the thing.
but
It's like not even willing to take the risk, you know.
it just feels like they're just trying to wait it out to see what happens, and then like they're gonna go. I feel like they're gonna go. If they're saying we're monitoring the situation, that means they're still going.
Yep. Because like they're gonna
And I
be
don't
like
want them to,
in
unfortunately.
because they're planning on leaving on Wednesday, and they're
Mhm.
having Friday Night SmackDown in I think in Saudi Arabia. So it's like, well, we just gotta wait. We just gotta watch and play and seeing how it plays out. That's how we gotta do it.
Yeah.
But
And other big news that's going around. Obviously we did talk a little bit about the Stanley Cup, the Panthers winning it, back to back champs, great for them. We all saw the yeah. All, I
Matt,
how like
but
people could. Oh, we're good. Oh, we're good. But how people could be like in the parades, they're like, f this other team, screw that. It's like, dude, just you won. Don't them. They lost. Who
here's
cares?
because here's my thing. Because there's a bunch. I mean, like I'm glad OKC won and everything, but at the same time, it's like everyone was like, "Oh, there's the fake ring." Yada yada yada. I mean, like it's still a ring at the end of the day. So that's why I'm like not
Yeah.
really like complaining as much. But at the same time, like they had the best record in the league. So it was bound to happen, like for them to win the ring. I mean, it'd be a different
Yeah.
story if Indiana won,
Hmm.
and then everyone's gonna be looking at OKC as like, hey, y'all gonna
Y'all
make some
choke.
moves or something, or y'all not gonna. Because let's put it like this: if OKC would have lost last night, their championship window is closed. Like if they were, yeah, it. Same with Denver. Like Denver, that was the 2023 year. That was like probably like the most realistic and like best scenario to win it
Hmm.
because I don't think they were gonna like have like they weren't like good enough to win it. You know, they were lucky to play against an eighth seed team in Miami. And like all due respect to Miami, but like it was Miami and like Jimmy Butler heroics in the playoffs in 2 years ago, which that was all for none. because like he got hurt in the New York series and he wasn't the same player afterwards.
Mhm.
So it was just like it was all for nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, going off of that and seeing some of the news around the
Matt.
sorry about that. The Wizards picked up Middleton's option.
Yep.
I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how. I mean, why would they pick up his option? I understand why, but it just feels like this feels like I know he's not in charge of the team, and you know he was in charge of the Wizards when they were there, and he was on the Bobcats and the Hornets. This feels like a Michael Jordan type of move when he was GM or whatever the heck he did. Like you
Yeah.
don't need you that 33 million could be saved getting other
I
players,
know.
better players. Chris, I'm not saying he's bad,
He
but as
just
someone that
wasn't
watched,
the team.
no, he was better when he was on the Milwaukee. He wasn't on a good team. You're just trying to fill a gap. You could
Pretty
fill in the
much.
draft.
And it's like it doesn't make sense, you know. Like it's just
I never got
doesn't
it.
make any sense.
I still don't get it. It feels like when they signed John Wall. Back when they signed John Wall that extension, they were just like,
That was the
my brother.
one thing. Like whenever he got hurt, that's when
You know,
that was when the whole Washington franchise died. And think about it.
yeah.
Just imagine if Westbrook was still there with Bradley Beal, and they built that team around them two, because they made the playoffs as the eighth seed, and then Daniel Gafford, who's on the Mavericks now, who was on the Wizards whenever Westbrook was there. Just imagine if they were still together, like just like the firepower, just for like around them two, and then that was pretty much like a LeBron f up for trading away the whole team for Westbrook because on paper, championship, but that was a dumpster fire of a
Why does
20.
everything? When has anything, any analyst that's ever said, "Man, this team looks really good on paper"? When has that ever been like, "Oh yeah, it's going to translate on the court"? Never, rarely ever. Maybe less than 20%. Here, I can name you three examples. The 2000, I think it was 2008 or 2000, no, 2010, maybe 2009, when the Lakers had Steve Nash, uh,
2012, 2013,
yes,
Dwight
thank you,
Howard
thank
and
you.
Kobe.
Dwight Howard, Steve Nash, and Kobe. Everyone's like, "Oh, this is going to be a fun year." They look great on paper. They're going to go to the championship. Didn't even make the championship. 2007 Mavs. Now I know that hurts. Man, this team looks good on paper. Yeah, they choked, but they can do it. No, they can't. They don't. They get their butts whooped, belt to ass. But again, that's another time where someone like an analyst was like, "Man, this team looks so good on paper. They are primed for a championship."
Oh,
2012,
perfect.
2011 Heat.
Yeah,
2011 Heat. Same thing.
that was probably one of the worst seasons, like final performances from LeBron in his career. And let's think about it. That he always thinks about like our matchup against the Heat in 2011 all the time because that kind of helped him like motivate himself. To like, okay, this is not gonna ever happen again,
Yeah.
and if I ever play like this, like I'm not gonna be like the greatest of all time, which he is now. But
Yeah.
it's like one of those things where it's like he had to motivate himself to get better, and guess what? He wanted back to back.
Mm.
So it's like just think about that, and he went to 8 straight finals, I believe, or 7 straight finals. 20 okay,
16,
2011,
11, 12, 13,
14,
14,
15,
15, 16, 17, 7. No, 2018,
18,
20, yeah. So 8.
yeah, 7 straight.
So 7 straight, and his record is what, 1-6?
No, no. So he won. You're funny. He he
They won 12.
he
He won in
won
2012.
4 out of the 6. He been to 10 NBA Finals. He won 4 out of the 6
So
because he's so good. LeBron's so good because he pretty much created a super team. Even though the first year was kind of even, if it's an
mhm,
even straight up matchup, and then the next season afterwards, 2018 season, that was kind of like an unfair matchup, which he almost pulled off an upset in Game One.
mhm.
Then
And then yeah, JR happened.
Jr.
Yeah.
But what we can do, we can just look back and watch videos of it repeatedly, and then all
And the
we can
last
just
thing
do
he
is
had, yeah.
watch. And just like in other news, like the draft is this Wednesday, round one, Flag Day for Mavericks fans. Cooper Flag is going to be a Maverick unless the Mavericks do some bonehead move and don't draft Cooper Flag on at
The
number
only
one.
the only way they don't draft him, only
Is
way,
is to
is if
trade
they,
at the
inter-
pick.
if they or if they interview him and they go, man, there's something about him we just don't like. There's something about his personality, or there's something about his game that we just don't like. That's not a fit for us right now. If there's a better fit out there. Because we've seen times where teams have drafted the first round pick. This guy's a unanimous number one pick, great pick, and then like he doesn't fit the system, or he doesn't just pan out. Now I hope Cooper Flag and the Mavericks for the Mavericks pans out all the best, but there's a very real chance that could happen for the Mavs where he just doesn't fit in with the system they're trying to run there. Especially with a coach like Jason Kidd, who at times I feel like his philosophy changes every 5 seconds based on
Tell
the
me
score.
about it.
He's like, all
Hmm.
right, guys, we're winning. We're winning the game. We're up by 15. Let's start playing defense. Oh crap, they're back in the game. Or if they're down, it's like, all right, full blitz, full rush. We're down by one. We need to be up the court in about 10 seconds. It's like, no, you don't. Run the clock down. Jason, sorry ass rotations. Stop.
Tell me about it. Yeah,
Stop.
but like it's because like what
Why is
sucks,
PJ
like
going
we
in?
lost, like the Mavericks lost one of their key assistant coaches on Sean Sweeney to the Spurs. Now I was like, well, what we gonna do now?
Yep. Why is PJ going in? No, stop. PJ, get out. Just fake an injury. It's something.
Because we might trade PJ and Gaffer in the offseason. That's what everyone's been saying. Now I'm like,
We got to make room for Flag and his huge contract.
because here's the thing: as much as I love PJ, but for the time he might be gone by trade deadline because I just because the Kyrie slot. If Kyrie was healthy, it'd be Kyrie, Clay, Cooper Flag, AD, and Lively in the starting lineup. Now
Mm-hmm.
it's like, will PJ take a pay cut and come off the bench? Well, like, hey, that would be lovely if he does that because Cooper Flag he could play shooting guard, point guard. Like has the ability to. And the only one thing that sucks is that's Clay. That's Clay's position. Unless like
Mm-hmm.
Cooper Flag, unless they run a big lineup and Cooper runs the point, which I might be down with that, but
Yeah,
um it might be like because it's gonna test him because he's 6'7", 6'8". I mean, they could run the point.
they could.
He could.
Just
They could
just a
do
matter
that. I
of how
mean,
just a
because
matter
here,
of how they do it. Well, that's the big question, right? That's the $1 million question. Do they want to revolve their offense around AD, Clay, Kyrie, or do they want to center it around Cooper and that way he plays and then have everyone else adapt? Because either way, you can make it work, but I'd rather have it adapt about the veterans that are there and make Cooper Flag adapt because that makes him a better player all around.
hmm
But we've seen teams go be like, we got to build around our star future, our future franchise, and everyone else has to adapt. And there's been times where it has not worked out.
hmm yeah,
Andre
just
Drummond.
Zion. who look at Zion for example, and he might get traded. Just imagine if he gets traded.
Honestly, I know I just dropped Andre Drummond's name, but can we get him on the podcast?
That would be down. I mean, sure, I just gotta do some outlets and like just like hoops and hoops and hoops. So like,
Directly contact him, his management, his agent.
like, hey, can we get Andre Drummond on the podcast?
Dude, I like to listen to some as much even though I don't watch basketball as probably as much as you do. I still like listen to the podcast and stuff like that. So I like listening to the stories those guys have, the behind the scenes stories. Those are just so much fun to me, especially the because obviously you watch the Last Dance documentary, everyone has, but there's still stories that they were not told in that documentary. Like there's one I remember the story of Rodman. There was one that he requested a cooler, a bucket like an ice bucket. Everyone's like, oh, it's gonna take ice baths. No, it's just filled with beer. It's just for him only, and no one's allowed to touch that.
Hmm.
Because again, everyone knows Rodman. He doesn't care. He don't give a rip. Dude walks in 20 minutes late eating chicken and rice and still getting pulled down 20, 30 rebounds.
Yeah.
That's the definition of uncaring, but still good enough to like that you know you're good enough. I think Rodman's the last true good, not rebounder, but just defensive player because how could you like when you look at what he did, like how he studied the game, he was able to study so much about every single player that he can just literally roll out of bed, drink 3 beers, have whatever he wants to eat, and literally still come in and drop and get 20 rebounds. To me, that is like no one does that now. No one researches like they do. They have
Superhuman
coaches that do it
stuff
for
right
them.
there. Superhuman
Yeah,
stuff.
but the thing is, no one does that anymore because now they have coaches that do it for them, and even then, that's not 100% accurate because I think it best comes from the player. The last person I can think of that was so good at doing that, man, I
Drummond
would say no.
with the
He's
rebound.
good. He's a good rebounder. Don't get me wrong. He's a good defender, but his obviously he's not nowhere near. I think LeBron was a better defender than he was. Obviously, well, I would say for a stretch of seasons that LeBron was.
Because there's a time like 2013, LeBron got says it to this day like he got robbed of the defensive player of the year.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, because Marcus Gasol won in 2013, and he said like, yeah, I got screwed over because he won MVP that year, and of course, he won the Finals MVP, and that was pretty much like the perfect season for him, until like he didn't win Defensive Player of the Year because like he was a monster that year,
Yeah,
and that
he
was
was.
pretty much like prime LeBron that like at his peak. In 2018, LeBron was like when he mastered the game of
Yeah,
basketball.
yeah.
And people don't realize it because people thinking was like, oh, like either like 2013 LeBron or 2018 LeBron. And that's why I had to like sit and ponder. I was like, well, it's a tough decision because like let's think about this. LeBron was probably like 29. That's when like he starts to hit his peak. And then and he was 33 in 2018 or 35. And that's when like he started to like, okay, I get it. I
Ever
understand the
since
game.
I, I, I think we lost his peak in 2019. His first year at the Lakers was 2019, I believe, right?
Yeah. 2018,
So
2019, yeah.
yeah, so 2018, 2019. That first year at the Lakers when he hurt his groin, to me that's when he started falling off because he hasn't really been the same since. We've seen flashes of it and of great play from him, but just that little bit extra that we lost.
I gotta agree with you on that. However, there was another. It wasn't the bubble season. It was the season after the bubble, like the 2020, 2021 season.
Mm-hmm.
The Lakers were 21-6. They were about to like, oh, we're about to go back to back. And then Laker fans, cover your ears because I'm about to traumatize them again. Solomon Hill landed on LeBron's ankle. And LeBron fans and pretty much like all NBA fans knew like after whenever LeBron came back, LeBron wasn't the same LeBron afterwards because
No.
he was 37
Yeah.
37 whenever he that happened,
Mm,
and that's at the time it was like, oh my gosh, like will we see like freakish like athlete LeBron again? No.
nope.
He shows flashes, but like he ain't the same LeBron of
Never the
old.
no.
Just based on
Well,
talent itself, he's still there.
okay, so then here's a hot topic debate. Speaking of Solomon Hill, same thing with Patrick Beverly. Guys that injure other players. Maybe what I understand, P. Bev's was more intentional than obviously Solomon Hills was. But do you think a player when they get injured by another player, the player that injured that player, so for example, Solomon Hill when he stepped on LeBron's ankle, I really don't think he warrants the death threats he gets. You know, people. I understand you want to cheer for your team, but if it's a complete accident, even if it's like on purpose, you could be angry, like, oh my god, that's such a cheap shot. But you don't need to threaten somebody's family. You don't need to threaten that person. Like, dude,
Because
they're humans, same as us. They just play at a higher level. Like,
okay, yeah, I mean, does the Solomon Hill LeBron that was an accident though. The
yeah,
Patrick Beverly the Russell Westbrook that happened in
no, that Pat,
2013. That was
no, that
that was intentional,
intentional. Yes.
and that kind of like threw away on the Thunder's championship hopes because the Thunder would have won it that year
Yeah.
because they had the best record. Well, actually, no, the second best with Miami. They
Yeah,
had 61 record,
and
61 22.
that was in the middle of Russell Westbrook's Iron Man streak. He still had that Iron Man streak going.
Yeah, and then afterwards, like I I just don't know what happened to Westbrook, dude. That's like he had the most best mid range in the game. Now he can't shoot now, which sucks. Cause like he had like the most automatic mid range pull up
Yeah.
game, which like in
He hasn't happened
probably
the
like
same
in
since
modern
that injury.
history. That it used to be automatic, like little simple like dribble pull up, and it was cash all the time. Now it's like we're just like don't shoot the ball and just be a facilitator. Don't try to do too much
Hmm.
because I don't know what happened to make him like
He hadn't been the same since that injury. He had to like change his. So since that injury, he had to change his entire game around, like rehab and like changing it. So ever since that injury, like there's been times where yeah, he's had games of like being automatic, but before that injury, it was like stretches. Like he goes 7, 8 games of being pure automatic. You know, but ever since that injury in 2013, and it's 2025 now, he's played that long. We have not seen that same player. We have seen less of that player, and that's what I hate seeing. Now, granted, age over time doesn't help either, but that injury had made him. I think forced him to change a lot of his mechanics, the way he did a lot of things, and obviously that changes your routine. That changes a lot, and you can't. It's hard to recover. You can't go back to the same person you once were. That could be said for LeBron. That can be said for Dirk when he got injured. That can be said for Luca when he got injured and came back. You have to change certain things about your game, and it's hard to go back to what's so comfortable. Because as a player, as a player I know, when you get hurt, okay, well now I hurt my arm or I hurt my leg, and now I got to change the way I kick the ball or I dribble, because it feels weird going on one side or the other. It's just
yeah,
different.
it's
So
just
to me that's like I think he's the most. Him and Chris Paul to me are like the two of the biggest what ifs.
mhm.
What if he didn't get injured? What if Chris Paul was on a better team? What if he didn't get traded?
Boy, Chris Paul didn't hurt his hamstring in the conference finals. It would be Houston probably would have had a ring. Harden would probably be still in Houston right now. Just imagine. See the ripple effect of the NBA is crazy.
Yeah.
Just imagine. Okay, go back a couple years ago. KD. Just imagine KD's foot was a little bit shorter. You know how the butterfly effect that would have made in the NBA if his foot was a little bit shorter.
Oh, we don't have nearly enough time to dive into that.
We're gonna talk about that next time, but just
Oh yeah, for
imagine
sure.
we're gonna
We're
talk
gonna
about
leave
that.
you with that.
We're gonna talk about
I think
that.
yes. For everyone watching at home, Everyone watching, wherever you're watching it, whether you're watching on a computer, phone, tablet, in your grandmother's bathroom, wherever. Think about that. What would the ripple effect be? Think of different scenarios. What if KD's foot was shorter? What if Russell Westbrook didn't get hurt by Patrick Beverly?
Like
What if the
just
shot clock?
like just a bit
I was
like
gonna
the
say,
biggest what if. Like
yeah,
what if and just imagine like what if COVID never happened? What if the
yeah.
season of the 2019-2020 season? Just
What if
imagine.
Chris?
What
What
if
if Chris Paul cut the lead to 3?
like what if, think about it. But yeah, like Matthew said, we're gonna be talking about that next time, next episode.
What
But
if the
yeah.
Mavs didn't choke in 2006?
What the Mavericks didn't trade Luca? Oh my gosh! What? Oh, all is right in the
What if they
world.
didn't? What if the Mavs had not traded away their entire team after the 2011 championship?
The world may never know.
No,
Probably in a
exactly. And
different,
so
probably in another universe.
I
Probably in another
I have
universe.
homework. I have homework for all of everyone. If you have ChatGPT, go home and ask those ChatGPT scenarios and see what it can come up with. Like, what would the ripple effect be? Because I guarantee you, it doesn't know. Because we obviously don't know. But I want to see what it comes up with. That's what I want to see it come up with.
Yep.
That'll be good. So everyone, episode 38. 2 more episodes of hit 40 for Trey. I'm Matthew. Garrett will be on hopefully next time. Obviously, he had a call today, so he's got work. But we'll be back next time. Don't worry. And we'll keep you updated on the Andre Drummond. Let's see if we can get him on it.
Hey, maybe anything's possible. Anything's possible.
Hey, if we get Kevin Garnett, even better. But yeah, guys, we will see you guys in the next episode.
All right. See you.